All right, what's happening, guys? We have a few fellas from the Wolfpack here live, and we're just going to go through the training together. Of course, if you're not watching this live and you're just watching this on the replay, man, I should have also sent you this document that we're looking at right now. And if you have any questions, well, you missed out because you have to show up live to get this. But maybe in the future, I'll get some forums of like questions you guys could ask prior, so then you could just ask, and then I'll answer them on the live while you're not there. All right, so why I wanted to talk about snacking. I mean, if you could just like say yes right now, anybody who's here, or you could even type one in the chat and just be like, do you snack? And is it a big fucking problem? Like not just a little problem, like it's a big problem.
Evenings. Evenings, I just want to eat my face off.
Evenings, it's typically like that.
Yeah. That's usually the evenings, like when my cravings come in.
Yeah. And it's think about it, like you've never binge eat at breakfast. It just doesn't happen. Okay. And you're going to see why as we start to like go through each one, because each thing starts to kind of tie into each other. You just never kind of realize it until after the fact. But yeah, 100%, man. Like as your coach, if I see someone start to plateau or slow down on progress, I already know what's going on, man. Like I could see, and I'm not pointing anybody out. I'm not going to say any names, but I'll see like calories at a certain level and then weight's not dropping. I'm going to be like, I'm not buying any of this bullshit, all right? Like I know it's I've done this long enough. There's secret calories not being tracked, and it happens, man. I mean, to be honest, I never had a coach even personally, and I'd always fucking be a bitch, and I'd just be like, fuck. But it was something that I conquered, and I want to help you guys doing it too. But here, talking more about it. So the number one cause of obviously snacking is only lost plateau, right? So you plateau in progress, you slow down, which ironically causes you to get frustrated and then leads to more snacking, which again, we'll talk about why that is even the case in the first place. It's pretty common sense, but we'll talk about it. And this is a great way to talk about the first way to stop snacking, which is first just to understand it, right? I'm not going to get hoity-toity. We're not going to get too mindset-y about this, but we are going to understand the fact that just think about when it happens, right? Just make it, you're bored, you're stressed, you're tired. Sometimes you even eat celebratory and reward. You know what I mean? Hey, Jimmy got an A+ in math class. Let's go to a pizza place and eat his face off. Oh, okay, cool. So since you're young, you're always associating like food with like celebratory and reward. There's also fake hunger, which kind of gets tied with stress and being tired. Oh, I'm starving. I'm gonna die if I don't eat this food. I'm just like, yeah, tell that to the African kid who's probably not gonna make it till next year because he can't eat. You know what I'm saying? It's mostly supposed to be dark humor, but sorry. Anyways, peer pressure or going cold turkey. So those are many of the reasons why we snack, right? So if you identify why things occur, then you're also going to be able to kind of reverse engineer each one. And like I said, this is like a spider web, right? This is like a spider web. So I mean, like, just anybody on the call, or if you're even watching in the recording, hit a 1 in the chat, or just say yes if you're on the call. If any of these are the reasons why you snack.
Yeah, no,
Boredom.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like boredom, like stress. I used to like snack a lot of I was just like, right, let's hit something sweet, something sugary. Then I just feel worse after.
Yeah, dude. You feel good momentarily, and then you feel like shit after. It's almost like, we did this when we were teenagers and 20 years old. You're just filthy. You jerk off. You go leave the house, and you just feel like, dude, everybody knows I did it. Fuck, it's weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it just trickles down to so many other things, right? So now that we have an idea of why we snack, the first thing I usually say is, and I'm going to explain this one because this could be very like off-putting, but it's like 100% restriction at first, right? I'm a firm believer if there's something that you're doing that you should not be doing, and particularly this number 2 is for somebody who's in a shred. If your goal is to lose weight, your first thing should be doing is taking things out of your house that should just not be in your house, right? That's number 1. Okay, and the reason why is because it's just for a time being, because as you can even see on the bottom here, is this forever? No, this could only even be for like 1 to 3 weeks, right? But the idea is you want to go into first just like, all right, I give up, white flag, I can't stop snacking, I'm just gonna take everything out of the house. Or if it's not even in the house, you also just say no, like no matter what. Like if you get offered it, You go somewhere, someone offers you, like I've worked with guys before where they're like, oh, I can't say no to people who bring food at work. I'm like, it's very easy actually. Just say no and then they leave you the fuck alone. Like it's actually not as complicated as you want to be, right? So you could be very reactive and just be like, oh no, like, I feel bad and I feel ashamed by saying no. Or you could be proactive and just be like, well, what if I just said no and see what happens? Right? That's it. So the reason why this is the case is because this is still a skill, right? You still have to have a skill of saying no to things. Like there's a skill of being like, it's almost like what I was talking about, being stressed and tired, where you're like physically like, oh my God, I'm gonna die if I don't eat this food. I'm like, I know you're not gonna die if you don't snack or don't get a meal in you, if you go to bed hungry and all that stuff, right? And there's a period to give oh yeah. So then you have to give yourself some time to change the patterns that it's normal to not snack. That's why full restriction is totally okay because you have to first just normalize. Yeah, snacking is actually not really something I need to do, which is normal. It's like it's not actually normal to snack. You don't need to, right? I remember I was listening to this one podcast and they were like, imagine if you go back into 1920, so a little over 100 years ago, and you talk to like your great grandfather or something like that, and you were like, these are my problems right now. I can't stop doom scrolling. I can't stop snacking. I can't stop like being tired and lazy. And this guy's gonna look at you and be like, I haven't fucking ate a square meal in like in like a day. What the hell's your problem? Right. So it's like it's okay to look at things in kind of like a mindset shift where it's like what was normal back then, they didn't snack. They didn't have a problem with snacking like we do. So we could normalize it not being a thing today. It's totally normal, right? I do still then go to now the next one, which is swapping, right? It's technically still snacking, but it's more of kind of like if you're just going to swap, you're not going to actually pick choices that are going to lead towards things that aren't going to help you. So I'm in a bulk right now. And even in a bulk, I might eat a little bit more sugary stuff and chips and high fat stuff than normal, but I really still keep it pretty tight. I just eat more of what I normally eat. That's it. So I still snack. I snack a little bit more, obviously. But for the most part, with the extra calories, I still lean towards better options, right? So this is where the swap occurs. So why not just have like a Greek yogurt and berries if you want something sweet, a dark chocolate instead of the milk chocolate, or like the candy bar that has milk chocolate, caramel, peanut butter, all that stuff, right? Why can't you just have like a sweet dark chocolate bar? That's it, right? Or like have beef jerky versus a granola bar, right? And then if you're in a shred, like this is why the above makes so much sense because it's kind of like this just will not serve you. Because if you think about it logically, all right, not emotionally, just logically, the calories are already low, right? When you're in a calorie deficit, your calories are low, meaning your nutrients are low, which is mean you're giving your body less than what it requires, right? So everything counts. It really does, right? Because the thing is, if 50% of your diet is a little bit of like processed and yeah, it's just calories in, calories out, you're not giving your body, you're giving yourself even less nutrients. So if anything, you got to get a little bit more bro. And I made a training on this a couple weeks ago where it's like you got a little bit more bro, you got to get a little tighter when you're cutting. Just because it's a short period of time of your life, you know what I mean? Those cupcakes and things are all going to be there, right? And then to get into the mindset, doing hard things is good for your character and mindset, to be perfectly honest. All right, does that one make sense? Like swapping, changing it up, doing a little bit of adjustments. And then this one was technically supposed to be the training, but then I just kind of like combined all of them together. So again, I don't share names, right? Even though he's like, oh, you can share my name, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna share your fucking name. But we dealt with this personally with a client just a couple of weeks ago. Right, he was stalling, and when he was stalling, I'm jumping on a call with him. I'm trying to identify what's going on because the calories are exactly where you need it to be, and the weight's not moving. And I'm like, fiddle me this, what the fuck's going on, right? And then we later on find out that he has been eating more calories and just not logging it in. He feels bad about it. Happens. It's not an easy process, guys. You know what I mean? To have to change patterns that can really like get you. But then what we really found out was he's been sleeping like shit. Okay. And again, why does that matter? Why does sleeping like shit matters? Well, if you sleep like shit, if you watched any of the modules, your cortisol level goes up. Right? Yet nothing else changes in your life. Like you just had terrible, terrible sleep. yet nothing else changes. You go to the gym and you're like, no, man, my new identity is a guy who fucks up the gym. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to tear it up, rain or shine, man. As long as I show up, I'm a new man. It also adds fuel to the fire. Like, don't get me wrong. I love showing up to the gym and being a badass, but perhaps, again, you want to be a little bit more proactive here rather than reactive. Reactive is, oh, man, I got to show up to the gym hard to knocks, like no matter fucking what. I got to crush it. Or you can be proactive and be like, all right, I just had a bad night of sleep. Maybe I had 2 or 3 bad nights of sleep. I could feel my recovery really shit. I could feel I'm pretty tired. I'm going to still show up to the gym. What if I just did a little bit less? What if I just like showed up? And why would you want to do a little bit less? Well, think about it. If you're in a calorie deficit, after around 4 or 6 weeks, which most guys have already passed the 4 or 6 week mark, you've just lost one of the most important, if not the most important, reserves for recovery, which is food. So now you're not sleeping, you're already in a deficit, so you're already not getting enough food. Unless you're like the fucking Dalai Lama and you could fucking handle your stress and namaste yourself and be super chill and somehow recover your body just through thought, you might want to just like do less in the gym. And then just to backtrack, just to show some proof. So that same client, we got him to like regulate his workouts. So he was doing, let's say, instead of 2 hard sets, he would do 1 hard set. Instead of reaching failure on every set, he would, maybe stop 1 to 2 shy reps of failure. If recovery is really, really bad, I even told him, just drop the weight. Okay, that's the last lapse option, right? But what this is doing is this is putting less fatigue on the body, less cortisol, because the cortisol is already up from the bad sleep, and we're putting your body in a state to make it easier. All right, if you didn't guess this, he is now down like a fucking cold, like I think 5, 6, 7 pounds in the last like 2, 3 weeks. Okay, so that's all we did. We just had to identify what was causing him to want a snack, and then sometimes it's physiological, it's not psychological, right? So that's what a lot of guys always tie. You know what I mean? Like what Luke just said, he's just kind of like, oh man, I only went to the gym 3 times this week, but guess what? I'm less guilty about it versus in the past. It's the same thing when it comes to snacking. Sometimes you just need to understand that some things are psychological, some things are physiological. And in this case, it was physiological. Because now he's losing weight, and guess what? He's psychologically far more pumped. Like, he's getting that dopamine hit. You know what I'm saying? So mindset around food needs to change, but this type of change, like the psychological, takes time, man. Like, I'll be perfectly honest, man. Like, I had a YouTube account where I overate foods, but learned how to maneuver my calories throughout the week so I could eat 10,000 calories in one day. Here's a disclaimer. That's not a healthy relationship with food. But at the same time, there was elements of that where I learned how to then respect myself, my stress, food, all that stuff, right? So other than that, just to finish off, there has been people out there who have gone 100% cold turkey, whether it was like porn, snacking, cigarettes, drinking, like they just said, like, that's it. And then they literally just, that's it. And I honestly kudos to those type of people. That's incredible mental fortitude, but it's not very common. So it's better to kind of approach this tactically, approach this with a little bit more like, have a little bit of snacks in moderation, have maybe swaps more often than not, right? And then, yeah, of course, auto-regulate when you have poor sleep. So if you're bulking, you still could auto-regulate as well. If your goal is to build muscle, auto-regulation is totally still normal. Because guess what? If you have bad nights of sleep and you have lots of stress in your life, cortisol levels up, you're not going to build a lot of muscles. So there's no point training super, super hard. You might want to just get your recovery down a little bit. So then there's less of that person talking in your ear, oh, I'm fucking tired, I got to feel better by eating. Yeah, and then lastly, this is the last thing I'll say. And yeah, it's just about being proactive, guys. So I recommended this book. I think I'm just going to read this every day for the rest of my life. It just makes my life easier to just say that I'm just going to do that rather than read it every year, which is just be proactive. Have a proactive mindset, right? So what's within your control, right? Because there's a circle of influence, and then there's like, your circle of influence is based off of like your ability to just kind of like control what you could control. So same thing with snacking. Learn how to say no, learn how to put yourself in positions where, you don't have to actually work very hard to say no. And eventually you'll just start to change those patterns. Sick. All right. Give me a hell yeah if that was helpful.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Q&A time.
Okay. I did wonder actually, sort of with snacks, I'm having sort of this current conundrum at the minute where it's like, again, I've taken sort of snacks out of my pantry and there's none there. It's like if I get the urge, I don't go there, but I do live sort of along against several shops, like literally not even like a minute's walk. It'd be very easy for me to just go down. I was like, oh right, I'm gonna go buy a Kit Kat. And I was just wondering, what would you recommend to sort of someone sort of in that position? When again, even like geography isn't as big a barrier to sort of snacking as it would be.
So it's the geography of like how to, because it's too easy to get them.
Yeah, just like go down, snack, buy, and then come back, and then feel worse for it.
All right. So one of the things, that's a really great question. I think one thing I didn't even like add to this was, sometimes like what I've done with success with myself and some clients is have like a combination, right? So have like a combination rule. Here, let me write it. A food combination rule. Meaning what I typically do is I would have like, let's say some sort of chocolate. I'll say chocolate, just because you mentioned chocolate. I'd have a chocolate, but I'd pair with like a fruit, right? Or like
Mm.
I've done this even with like chips, right? Like I'll pair with some vegetables because it's not weird. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have like a dip in hummus and I have some chips, I'm just going fucking all out. But at the same time, too, I'm like putting myself in a position to, um, you know, regulate the over consumption,
Mm.
right? Because I mean, again, I heard this on a podcast, which I fucking laughed out loud while I was driving and listening to this because it was like, if you were to take like one apple, you would take like one Oreo, you walk down the street with 10 pounds of fucking apples, going one after another, one after another. Everybody would look at you like you're a fucking crazy person. Like nobody
Mm.
usually goes from one apple to a second apple. They usually just go like, yeah, that one apple was good to go. But it's
Mm.
not weird if you were to have like a fucking roll of Oreos and you went from one to a second,
Mm.
a third one. Theoretically, calories are very similar,
Mm.
right? But why is it that we do that with snacking? And the only way to do this is by combining things that you don't overeat with things that you could overeat with. So then the
Okay.
combination alone can help.
Okay. So it's like the almost like the association
Yeah.
sort of with the apple and all that. So all of a sudden it's, oh no, actually I've got this full feeling. I don't need to overeat like I would beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to look into like the science, that's just typically because like the fiber is also going to like keep the insulin spike. It's going to keep like even like the taste profile not like so
Mm.
overwhelming.
Okay.
And yeah, I heard this other one on. I guess I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently. I heard this other one on a podcast where he's like, you're not addicted to sugar. So I want you to confirm that with everybody. You're not addicted to sugar. And the reason why you have proof that you're not addicted to sugar is because you're not fucking um, blowing guys under a bridge for Oreo cookies. And the reason why that's important though is because
Mm.
I actually had it. I was starting to get convinced that sugar was actually something of an addictive nature. It's just your cortisol level so high, you're so stressed out that it has been your way of feeling happy, right? You're
Mm.
getting that anticipation of
I
what
like,
you eat. All
I'm like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's a great question, man. A great
Oh,
question.
awesome. Oh, sorry, no worries. Thanks. Thank you.
Did it help the question? Did that answer the question too?
Yeah, no, that works for me. I think that's definitely something I'm going to be thinking about sort of going forward. I hadn't really thought about actually pairing it up. Usually I just go for the snack and then regret it later. But yeah, I'm going to have to try that and then like get back to you on how that goes this week.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? It's not even weird. It's not weird to like go buy
No,
a Kit Kat bar and like a pint of strawberries. Like it's not fucking weird.
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your guilty pleasure? What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure right now, it's got to be like I gotta eat like fatty meats, like ribs, wings.
Mm.
Sugar is not doing anything for me right now. Like I need incredible amounts of like salty, savory, fatty foods.
At least you're high protein. What about you?
Yeah. No, I
You,
think
you
it's yeah. Oh, nice. It's a tough one. I mean, for me, it's always been. I mean, like when I was younger, I used to always go to the shop, get like, get high sugary, lots of sweets, chocolate. That's how I always associate those with that like short-term boost. So yeah, like that's usually like my go-to if I'm like stressed. I'm like, oh, need boost right now.
I have a sweet tooth as well, and I'll be honest with you, like in order to get my extra protein in and to satisfy my sweet tooth, what I've been doing now is I blend frozen fruit and then I add cottage cheese to it. So it makes like a cottage cheese ice cream. It's high
Okay.
protein, low fat, low cal, and it really does satisfy a need for me. I've actually added Greek yogurt from time to time just to up the protein if I wanted to, or powdered peanut butter because I love the flavor of it, and I can go and add another 6 grams of protein if I want. So me hitting my 190 to 200 grams of protein every day, I'm doing that on a 16 to 1700 calorie deficit.
Yeah.
My
awesome.
issue right now is freaking weekends. Like I'm going out on dates, meeting up with friends. You know what I mean? Having a drink or two. I don't go more than that. Like I used to be able to do 4, 5, 6 drinks. I don't do that anymore, man. I put in too much effort to not, to just piss it all away to gouging and stuff. But, you know what I mean? I'm 2,200 maybe calories a day on a Saturday, Friday night, Saturday kind of thing. But again, you know what I mean? 80-20 rule is what I've been applying to, but I'm at a maintenance. I'm not losing the weight. So I'm like, do I give up on my weekends? Like that's where I've made my acceptance. But I think if we can share a couple more of those snacking recipes or meal recipes that are super easy, like that cottage cheese ice cream, honestly, it's more of a pain in the ass to clean your blender than it is to make it because it's so quick and easy.
Yeah, dude.
Legit.
I found that as well. Actually, I'd like to talk more about the weekend, but first I wanted to see is Peter, are you actually like talking able or no right now? Not right now. Peter? All right. I just wanted to see if he was there so I could include him. Actually, Dogo, he was the one I was telling you about. Oh, he's chatting. My mic isn't working. Damn. Yeah, I was telling Diogo, you're the one who inspired these live trainings back into attack. Okay, here. So let me do this. If your mic gets back, then obviously you can get back and talk. But in regards to the weekend, I don't know, man. I mean, I talked to Luke about this a lot, where I've positioned it kind of in a way where being in a calorie deficit and being in a shred is something that you have to be very much like ready to commit 100% for, right? It's not easy. Like I'm having these
hello.
I'm having these like, Peter.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, nice.
All right, here. Let me just
Right.
finish my thought, and then we'll just kind of, I want to see what your thoughts are also on if you have any questions right then. But yeah, in regards to like the weekend, now, just to give you guys a quick disclaimer on Luke. So Luke went through a full shred. I think his shred was only like 10 weeks. Like that's all we needed to do exactly what we needed to do for him. And then after he was done, he was kind of like, working through trying to like stay in the bulk, and then he wanted to cut again. But it's always harder when you don't have that, like, the first state he was in. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody here was at a first state. You know what I mean? You're at your heaviest, you're at your most least consistent, all those things. And then when you have been progressing, it's hard to like come back into this again and like do a cut, do a deficit, have to say no so many times, have to like be so disciplined. It's not easy. So that's all I'm saying. So it's like for him, sometimes you have to like wave the white flag and be like, all right, maybe I don't cut and maybe I focus because what I know about him is he's also working on other areas of his life in great ways. So it's kind of like, so you're working on those areas. It's hard to like fucking manage all of the things. But yeah, that's the only thing I will say. Cutting sometimes you need to be kind of like tactical and be like, is this timing make sense? Right? So not bullshit stuff like, oh, there's gonna be a vacation for a week. I'm like, that's just 1 week. That's not a big deal. But if it's like, there's things that you're trying to like, routines you're trying to change, new things you're trying to adopt, like it ain't easy. So all right, Peter, what's your guilty pleasure?
You already know mine. I still eat cookies and bacon every week. In fairness, I eat bacon and cookies every single day. So, and I'm on 1,600 calories, between 1,650 to 1,750 calories.
Yeah.
So, chocolate chip cookies. It's the way forward.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, dude. And honestly, like I remember, I think it's good. I think it's important to, if especially if you're nailing 80-90% of your calories, it's okay to have like a small treat even every day. I remember a successful cut I had, and I think I shared this with you guys before, where a successful cut I did in 2020. Every day I had a glass of wine and dark chocolate every day. Just it just made sense for me. It just worked. Everything worked. Like it was just like the wine was there. Me and my wife just loved drinking, and it was only one glass. The dark chocolate, it was there. And then and then just to help you with Diogo, what I was doing, that's when I figured out the whole fruit combination. Because that's when I first created that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'll have like a bowl of fruits, dark chocolate, red wine. And just to give you some insight on red wine, it has I don't know if I can pronounce it very well. It's like resveratrol, and it's like it helps to kind of like calm the body.
Mm.
So it's like if your stress levels or cortisol levels up, that was my justification. I've never gone deep into studies of that. That was just something I did back in 2020.
I think if you meal prep, I found meal prepping helps me a lot anyway, because uh, Coach Marcus will know, like I meal prep most of my meals like all ahead of time. Like you can check my freezer and it's just full of like chicken breasts that I've already marinated and just need to go in the air fryer, or chicken burgers.
Mm.
So a lot of my stuff's done easy. So because I know what I've had or what I'm having, it's just easy enough to then account for that. So like, for example, I work in the office 2 days a week, and I already know what I'm eating the next day with like say like 250 to 300 calories allowance of just anything else I want throughout the day. I still hit my protein goals with the like 1300 calories. And then I've got room for extra. Like I think the last 3 days I've had like a protein bar as one of them. So like I've hit over, I think my target's like 180 calories at the moment. That's 180 grams of protein. And like the last 3 days, I think I've been over 200.
Yeah.
Just comes like, oh, I want chocolate. I'll have a protein bar or something.
Yeah,
But
man.
I think one thing is that when I say I eat biscuits, I swap like eating loads of biscuits. So I have like mini bags of cookies and stuff like that. So it's like 100 grams of 100 calories for a pack. So small things like that might make it easier to kind of adjust.
And if you hear that too, it's a lot about like just like maneuvering. So if anybody's ever has trouble trying to hit their calories, hit their protein, a lot of it's just like maneuvering. Like so, it's like I got this new thing called 1,000 calorie man meals, and they're essentially. And I've given you guys the meal plans technically for those. Like everybody has it. Those zero guesswork is technically a way of us maneuvering the 1,000 calorie man meals. Now, the only thing I'm kind of backtracking on is I don't know how often someone should do this and when someone should do this. I think it's very like clear that it's like it can't just be done every single day, and it definitely cannot be done unless you've reached like closer to your goal weight. I'm a firm believer of that because the thing is, again, so, like I told you about the YouTube I used to do. So anyone who doesn't know, I used to do YouTube challenges where I ate like 10,000 plus calories like in the video, and I
I've seen them.
maneuvered my whole entire week to do those things. And now with this, I'm maneuvering my day so people could have 1,000 calorie man meal. I just want you to know that this is not like it's not for the faint of heart, because the thing is, if you do it too often, it could lead to a slippery slope of like more binge eating after and a poor relationships with food. So I don't know. I'm just gonna talk about it, but I'm not actually like talking too much about it, like suggesting it right now, because I'm still trying to maneuver who should do it, when they should do it, type of thing. But anyways, the point though is, even from how Peter's talking, let's say your breakfast and your lunch, you maneuver those guys where you have the least amount of calories for the highest amounts of protein. So typically what I like is usually, around 400 calories for, let's say, 50 grams of protein. That's the really high end, 50 grams of protein. That's beautiful, right? You multiply that times 2, that's in 2 meals, that's 800 calories, 100 grams of protein. I mean, you're sitting pretty, right? And then what does that leave for most people? Roughly around 1,000 calories, right? Which I don't care who you are, man. Like if you have 1,000 calories to mess around with every single night, you have more than enough for like a burger, maybe a beer, maybe like a little what was it, cottage cheese and frozen fruits and yogurt. You can put protein powder in there, like nice little nightcap, drizzle of sugar-free chocolate syrup. Like you can make yourself dance. But if you can see here, the point of this all is you usually want to front load. And this is the term I used to use back in the day. So you front load your protein early. Why? Because it keeps you full. And then you backload the fun. And you could turn that into any type of joke you want to turn into if you want. Nobody? All right. Peter's kind of smart.
Oh, right. Took me a little while.
Yeah, I was like, no comment about that one.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, about that though, I think I kind of try and do that anyway, especially at the weekend when I've got more time to cook. So like, I think last weekend or the weekend before, one of the days, I ended up, in fairness, I didn't plan to have that much egg whites, but I ended up having like 500 grams of egg whites, an egg, an omelette, with one egg, and there's some bacon medallions. So I ended up having like 450 calories and 92 grams of protein.
Yeah.
So that way, the rest of the day I could just eat what I wanted, which is, and so it's part of like kind of planning ahead, I suppose, from my perspective anyway.
Yep, 100%.
Then unfortunately, salads are always handy in terms of low calories and always good to eat. Just find some low fat dressing or something like that, or low calorie dressing.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said in the training, like there's like that's being proactive on trying to maneuver, which is I think step number one, which is like maneuvering your day, maneuvering your decisions, maneuvering your choices. And only when it really, 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 really matters, you got to have that that ability to just say no. Just say no. So like, how they always talk about discipline? I feel like first it has to be like tactical, like you're maneuvering, and then lastly, when it comes down to it, you always have to just say no. Right? Which I mean, like, I'll tell you right now, it's not easy to say no year round. I think it's actually crazy to say no year round, unless that's what you want. You want to be like 10% body fat year round. You're saying no constantly. And if you're online holding on 10% body fat and you're not saying no year round, I almost don't trust that guy's not fucking doing some sort of TRT on a regular basis, or probably heavier than TRT. But I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, it's just because they're on fucking steroids. But I'm like, it's incredibly hard. I've only held on to like 10 or sub 10% body fat for like maybe the longest, maybe like 9 months. And then as soon as I got into a relationship, it was like I want to go have fun. I want to go have dinners. I want to go have ice cream. I want to like, I want to drink more alcohol, like so.
We talked about.
What's that?
Sorry, Marcus. Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. We talk about nighttime snacking, but and 5 times now in the last 2 weeks, I'm getting my 7-8 hours sleep, but I'm waking up hungry like a motherfucker, and I'm not kidding. Last night was 12:30 at night. I woke up, had a protein bar. A couple nights ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, I had a protein cereal. I just need to eat. And no, I'm not counting those calories. I'm not tracking those. And I just like to eat. Man,
no, but I can't
get enough.
That's what I said in the training. It's like there's times where it's like if you cannot stop thinking about food, like where you have to eat it, a lot of the times it's just because you're not allowing your body to recover. And not just from the gym. Because remember, dude, like we literally get stressed from a whole whack of stuff. Like you could pick up your phone and be like massively stressed, whether you look at your bank account, whether you have that like message on a text message from a girl, or like you could literally just like your whole life now is just like cortisol could just like fucking skyrocket, and the gym is just a contributor to that. So unless your sleep is perfect, your food is 100% like super clean, perfect, like someone's cooking your food and like all these things, you don't have work problems, you don't have relationship problems, you don't have money problems, you don't have religious problems, you don't have like scrolling on the internet problem, like you see all these problems can occur and they compound. So it's like, yeah, when I hear stuff like that, bro, all I'm hearing is like, you're probably just like, you're trying two things at once, which is like you're trying to push super hard on your body, and you're also trying to lose weight, and I'm going to tell you this right now, the easiest, because again, ease is what you want. The easiest I've ever had to lose weight, and I hate to fucking say it, but I was only working out 3 days a week. Because I was just chilling. My body was super recovered.
I didn't work out yesterday,
Yeah.
and I'm down like a pound this morning.
I mean, because yeah, dude, it's like there's a lot of things. It makes it easier to adhere to your calories. And it makes it just everything. If you want to hop on TRT, you want to hop on some tests, like bro, you could do both. You can push your body super hard. You'll recover like Wolverine. You won't have as much cortisol. And the anabolics will actually make you a fucking, like, it'll tear your bodies, like it'll rip you apart, like you'll be ripped. But like, I also recommend, and this is what I've been doing all my life, which is do it without it, and now you know how to do it. And then if you ever want to do it with like some support, like at least you know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like those people who do like the Ozempic. Like I saw this post, and I don't know how factual it was, but like in like 10 or 8 weeks, the woman lost an incredible amount of weight with Ozempic. But the first thing that comes to my head is if you don't have the habits and the behaviors and the lifestyle choices, you're gonna have to eventually get off Ozempic, or you stay on Ozempic your whole entire life, right? But
my friend's on it. She doesn't eat. She doesn't eat
because yeah, it takes away your.
But I can't even have that one slice. It's like half a slice, and that's it. I'm like, that's not nutritious. What we're doing here is for health. It's not for vanity. And if you're doing it for vanity, then yeah, go with the testosterone and everything else. But I don't want fucking testicular cancer over just trying to get some ripped abs. It's fucking stupid. I don't understand that.
That's all it is, dude. It's just an approach. Some people are okay to like they can't sit. Like I have a buddy who he had like he even tucked his stomach, and he wasn't even that overweight. But he tucked his stomach. You see his abs a little bit better, right? But then he's gained in only a year. He's already gained it all back because again, he's still not eating right. He doesn't know how to eat right. He doesn't know how to say no to food. He doesn't know how to say no to people. He doesn't know how to like manage his stress. Like all of these things are like, I'm not saying it's easy, but you believe me, you guys are already starting to like, it's like Batman utility belt. You know what I mean? This is what I eat for breakfast, motherfucker. This is what I say no to so I can keep my calories low enough so I can have a burger at night. This is what I say to someone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
yeah, but you're not hardcore if you don't go to your friend's place with your fucking meat scale. That's all I gotta say.
Dude, the things I've done, like I've gone to Paris. I've even went to Italy and brought my fucking food scale. I was fucked up, man. Like I had a problem. I had an issue.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of like half serious on bringing my scale over. No, I shouldn't, but I'm like, what if I could? What if I could?
I probably lean towards no.
I've not done that, but I have been out on a night out with my friends, like all daytime drinking, and I've literally brought food with me. So I'll be walking down the street eating broccoli and chicken as we're going to the next place. I'm just like looking at them like fork, just like, yep, just eat this. Get to the next place. I was like, yeah, I can have another drink. No, I was like, I've eaten my food.
Yeah, I've done that. I even brought a roasted zucchini in a Ziploc to a UFC bar, and yeah, it did not go well. And I'll tell you why it didn't go well. It was supposed to be a girl I should have slept with, but because she saw me doing that, it was like not the vibe. That guy's kind of whack, man. And I was just kind of like, yeah, but you just gotta sleep with me. You don't gotta fucking date me. It did not work.
Yeah.
Did not work.
No, yeah, no, actually, no. Last time I did this something that I was having the last of my meal prep. Problem was it was at a party I was hosting, and then my friend asked me, "Oh, what are they doing?" I'm like, I've got to get my calories in. I'm sorry.
I have no.
I've got to do it. I've got to do it.
See, the thing is, you gotta find the silver lining and things like that. That's really great commitment to being, what you got to do, and then maybe through time you just polish and figure out how to like, not do that. Do it here, do it without people saying, like, what I'm saying, like, or like even Peter, like instead of eating it in Tupperware, maybe next time he could put it into like a burrito or something like that. So it's more like handheld. You know what I'm saying? I'm not nitpicking. It's more just there's always a way we could be a little bit more healthier mentally.
Make your burrito and those keto wraps from Costco, man. 20 grams of fiber.
Yeah, Lindsay's been buying a lot of those as well.
Yeah, we don't have them here.
No keto, nothing, eh?
We might have keto stuff, but I know it's really hard to find like low calorie wraps here. Like I think I found some which are like 130 calories, and they're still like I think
Marcus
12 for
will
like
ship you
5
whatever you need. Marcus will ship you whatever you need, man. Just give him your credit card.
Yeah,
Might have to do that.
I'll send you over some. The real winner is the one that Chris got from Florida. Those are the one I think you were talking about, Peter, where he got like these. It's called Mission, I think, Mission bread. Mission
Yeah.
bread. And he brought up some for me as well when he went to Florida. So America, like they've got it covered, man. They know how to.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think that them ones are allowed in the UK, so I'm sure there's some dodgy shit in there that the British government are just like, no, we don't want that.
The country out there is the one providing you with health food options.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I have seen Aussie Fitness on Instagram has got like a tortilla wrap kind of recipe. I think it's like high calorie, high protein, low calorie. So I might just try and make them at some point and just see how that works out.
Yeah.
I think it's at 99 calories per wrap, but obviously it depends on how big you make them as well. Because
Yeah.
I think it's just Greek yogurt and oat flour mainly.
I went through a pretty funky hole. I think you should do it. Like, I'm not saying not to do it. I went through a pretty funky hole when I first started, man. I remember at one point I was making protein cheesecakes for people's like birthday and stuff like that. And then the worst part is people actually said it tastes good, and they were completely fucking lying. Like that, like it tasted absolutely awful. And it was a very low calorie cheesecake. It was or lowish calorie, high protein. And I think that's when you just start losing touch on like reality. At least for me. When I was making protein cheesecakes and just like, and then you know what the funny part is? I would just eat the whole entire thing. So it doesn't matter how.
I haven't tried cheesecake yet, but I made pancake bites and they were good. And like
pancake's not bad. Yeah, pancake's not bad.
Again, it was just oat flour, then it was casein protein. So and then a little bit of chocolate chips and egg whites rather than whole eggs and stuff like that. And again, froze them. So like I think I made too many, so with the portion I had, so it's like 17 calories and 1.1 gram of protein per one, and then about this big.
Nice.
So like, if I want a late night snack, I'll just chuck them in the microwave because they've frozen a minute. Some ice cream, some like low calorie ice cream, and sorted. It's like a nice dessert in the evening.
I am hungry now.
That makes me want pancake bites now.
Yeah, what's that?
That makes me want pancake bites now. Actually, I made some for breakfast this morning. I made pancakes, and I was like, you know what? I might switch this in because I mean, compared to like my other breakfasts, it was usually like the egg and avocado one, like calorie wise. No, it matched up pretty well. Still had actually more protein. This time it's like with a whey scoop and a couple eggs. I was like, why not?
That's all it is, man. You start to stumble on better options, different options, and then eventually you have like the goal is that you guys start having like so many options for breakfast, so many options for lunch that you're just like, what do I feel like shopping for this week? You know what I mean?
Diogo, when I first started, Marcus gave me this smoothie recipe. By the time you put your one little tablespoon of peanut butter, yeah, it tastes great. Your calories are blown. So how do you do a calorie deficit when your breakfast already is 600 calories, right? So I've got this protein pancake recipe now that I got it down to like 15 grams of fiber, 52 grams of protein. That's just 2 eggs and an egg white, right? With my other powders.
Nice.
Fluffy. I don't measure my maple syrup. I did at first. So now I eyeball it, but there's no way that a little extra maple syrup is going to get you fat. You know what I mean? So 452 calories, 52 grams of protein every single morning. And it's on autopilot. And those pancakes, they're fluffy. They fill you up for the day.
Yeah.
Right? That's the key. The smoothies, fuck, man, I was crying. Fuck, I'm so hungry. Like, fuck you, Marcus. This is not sustainable. And then he's like, okay, we're going to break it up to 2,600 calories. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, how the hell do I fit this extra 800 calories in my mouth? I don't know what to eat. That's the biggest psychological fuck is when you increase from a deficit. That was the hardest fucking thing I've ever had to do in my life.
Dude, I mean, yeah, Diogo just started. Diogo just started like increasing his calories. I think he's gonna go on his 3rd week now of increased calories. But honestly, dude, I can't get out of the bulk right now. Like I was stuck in shredding too much, and now I can't get out of the bulk. I'm like, I'm actually stuck. I might create a challenge in like 2 or 3 weeks and involve like a whole bunch of people. And just be like, all right, 9 weeks, I'm cutting. Like the pressure is on. I got to be cutting with everybody. I just love being stronger now. Like anybody who has like Diogo's going to start to know that. And Luke, you've been in long enough at times to know like when you feel that strength gain, it's like completely different monster.
I like to think I'm more of a maintenance than a cut. Even though I'm at 16-ish 100 calories, 5 days out of 7, I feel I'm more of a maintenance. But I challenge myself to push harder in the gym now. So if you've been tracking my weight, I've been increasing just a fucking hair every time.
Yeah.
And I'm able to do it. So, but I think that 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep a night is helping me a little bit. It's just I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm hungry. Is it because I'm pushing too hard at the gym that I still need more? And I don't know.
It's
right.
It's usually like that. It's just usually like that because again, there are two conflicting things if you think about it, right? Like your body is now asking for fuel, and remember, then we're also associating, food with like pleasure and like maybe your body only needs like an extra 100 calories over the course of like 7 days, but then you gave it a fucking quick shot of 200, 300. It's like can't really know the difference, right? So yeah, it is better if you do it slow and steady. Like I'll even tell you right now, like I did not do a fantastic lean bulk. It's leaned more towards a dirty bulk, but I was like, told you, I fell too much in love with like being strong. I just like I haven't lifted this heavy since I was in my early 20s, and now I'm like, crap. Like, now I got to work my way back. But all right, you guys.
I was talking to just one last note. So I was talking to a guy who was 27 years old, and he. In his bulk, he's doing 4 plates on each side on a bench press, man, like 400 pounds, whatever, right? My issue is, what about when you get older, like your joint? Because you look at Ronnie Coleman, the pinnacle of the fucking strongest man on earth, and he can't walk.
Yeah, he can't walk.
Right? You got to have that balance. I want that aesthetic thing, but I can tell you right now, when I'm cut and I got the cum gutters and all that shit, then I feel at my most aesthetically pleasing. But you're right, Marcus. When you're pushing that extra bit of weight and you're doing that fucking full stack, I'm doing full stacks on some stuff. I'm doing fucking 30 reps. 30 reps. What the fuck am I doing here, man? It's like it's not doing anything anymore. But my ego's like, fuck yeah, because I wasn't doing that last month, right?
That's all it is, man. It's like the days go by so quickly and they're so repetitive that we get caught into like just like you're getting in there, you're having so much fun, you're feeling stronger, you're getting better. That it's if you don't have that ability to talk to yourself to just like get off the cliff, because I mean that's what I even have to do right now. I got to talk myself off the cliff and just be like, all right, Marcus, like you're actually feeling your shoulder not feel great, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm gonna hit a PR today. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like
yeah. I'm having to talk myself back from that cliff where again I'm raising the weight. I'm like, oh yeah, high weight, low rep, no big, but the movement's just it's stiff. I'm just like, oh am I meant to be feeling it over there instead of over here? I just like try to find that temperance again. That's sort of my goal going into next week.
So again, it's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people fall in love with the instant gratifications. Like the women love the Ozempic, the men love the testosterone because it's testosterone. You put in efforts. They're without a doubt putting the same amount of efforts as us. The same people that you see online that are like in absolutely the most phenomenal shape, they're putting the exact same amount of effort as you are. So that's like a vote of confidence first, that there is no like, oh my God, they are so much more trained. Like I've trained with people that I remember see online. And I was like, holy shit, they're like fucking really in great shape. And then I train with them. I'm like, what? Come on, this is not right. Like this is not what you're almost hoping for them to have that secret sauce, right? And then they're just kind of like rather similar to what you do. So you're like, okay, this is kind of weird. And a lot of it just has to do with like, one, I was going to lean towards like the Ozempic and the testosterone because it shows the results from the efforts you're putting in quicker. Because that's the only thing that
don't meet your heroes, man. It's the same thing with those handshakes. You expect a nice firm handshake, it's a fucking limp noodle in your hand. It sucks.
Yeah, no, we call them fish handshakes here. We don't like
fish handshake. Yeah,
worst feeling.
Yeah, I had a dead fish handshake actually today. I met somebody at the gym, just said what's up, and did a shake, and it was just like, I got Jimmy Dean. I got little breakfast hands, and yet this guy couldn't give me like anything. I was like,
yeah, like I try not to judge, but I'm just like, come on.
Exactly. I don't want to judge you. Like the guy was actually, it's just different, because I've had women who fucking tried to crush my hand, and then you're like, fuck you, feminist. No.
Yes,
that's on the recording. Oh well.
You can edit that later. All right, my man. Fucking happy pushing, happy lifting, happy walking, happy eating.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you got some cool low cal, high protein recipes, share it in the fucking group, man, because it helps it out. But remember,
Yeah,
gotta be under
maybe we can
30
start doing
minutes.
that. Especially on the
Yeah, we
weekends.
have to.
Maybe on the weekends because I'll start sharing more of like different meal prep. Oh, dude, I used to do that like 2 years ago. I know it's not today, so this is not me being proactive, but it's like 2 years ago. It was like, here's a new fucking recipe I found. But I know Peters. He's making burritos, man. Like he's got some. If anybody needs to be shipping anything to me, like I ship him wraps, he ships me his frozen meal prep, so I get fucking. He has a catering.
Sure, we can
service.
arrange something.
He's got a catering service in his freezer, man. Like.
Oh, you should see the fridge. I had like, I think, is it 15 or 20 kgs of chicken breast the other day. So I've chopped and marinated some of that, and that needs cooking, and then the rest is getting frozen.
I'm guessing
So
his
just
chicken
easy
breast
access.
doesn't cost the same as me and Luke's in Canada because our chicken breast is inflation.
I
breast.
think it was for like it was £30 for 5 kilos, I think. So
How much is 30?
about $50 to $60 for 5 kilos.
$60. So it's like so it's $10 a kilo.
Something like that.
Oh, that's not
That'd be $25 a pound.
no
What was the
pound,
math?
English pound.
Oh shit, yeah. I have to use a converter on the calculator on that one.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that
Well,
just
if
sounds
it's
rather comparable.
Canadian dollars was roughly 2 to 1, isn't it? Or it might be 1.8 or something like that. So
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
say 50 Canadian dollars for 5 kilos. So yeah, roughly $10 a kilo, roughly.
I'm trying to convince Marcus we're gonna go to Costa Rica and grow our own food and have our own chicken.
Yeah, go for it. The who is it? Who lives there now? It's John Danaher. He's arguably the best jiu-jitsu coach in the world. Like trained Gordon Ryan, who's
yeah.
he trained GSP, trained Gordon Ryan. They all live in Costa Rica now.
Nice.
Dude, guys, this was fun. I'm more than happy to do this every single week. I mean, I think if anybody wants to start prompting topics, I'm more than happy to think about it myself. But I'm just like, everybody wants like an actual topic that they want to talk on. I'm mostly just basing it off of what I see with the majority of clients, where I'm just kind of like, y'all fucking with the snacking. I know you are. Like, so I'm like, we're gonna talk about snacking. But if there's ever like more specific topics like form, gym, productivity, all that stuff, we'll talk more about it. Cool.
Oh yeah, I got to send you some videos as well.
That's good.
I forgot.
Awesome.
If everybody's having a hard time sleeping, I think the Wolfpack should have an assistance fund for hookers or something to help you fall asleep. But that's just me.
Sure.
I would love, yeah, I'd love to do that, dude. And then like in only like a year, you see me in like an orange jumpsuit, dude. I don't know, when the hooker died. I don't know what happened, bro. Like...
Toronto's biggest pimp. All right.
How did you get
Peace
into
out
this?
on that note.
Later, guys.
That's it.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.